Abby and Lev's relationship in The Last of Us Part 2 was something that I didn't expect, but I'm extremely grateful Naughty Dog decided to bring two characters together despite having very different backgrounds and lifestyles. Sometimes in life, the most amazing things that can happen to someone are completely unexpected. There is so much conflict in the world nowadays, so when people from two different perspectives come together and realize that your background and how you were raised doesn't matter, it can lead to an incredibly inspiring relationship. Abby was on the verge of death until she was saved by two runaway scars named Yara and Lev. Lev wasn't planning on cutting Abby down, and I believe this just shows how messed up and broken this world truly is. To Lev, Abby is just some random WLF. Abby is forced to trust and follow her worst enemy in order to survive. This was the beginning, little did Abby know, of the next chapter in her life. Abby had been so consumed with getting revenge for her father that she forgot what it was like to be a good person. She thought by killing Joel it would bring her dad back and bring her peace. If anything, it just brought more emptiness and confusion. I believe Abby was confused soon after she left Yara and Lev in that trailer because they were just kids trying to survive. This messed with Abby so much that she ended up having a nightmare about Yara and Lev getting captured and killed by the scars. It was at this point where Abby realized what she had to do. She couldn't save her dad, but she could save those kids. This just goes to show that no matter how much you have messed up in life, you can still find your purpose, even in the most unexpected ways possible. After Abby brings Yara to the aquarium, she's forced to trust and follow yet again her worst enemy. At this point, Abby and Lev are still pretty much strangers. For Abby's character, I believe this is the most important part of the game because it shows a glimpse of who Abby really is as a person. Whether or not she wants to, not only does she have to get the supplies from the hospital for Yara, but she has to protect Lev as well. This is also where Lev starts to open up to Abby and they begin to bond. Abby is terrified of heights, and ironically, that's how her and Lev connect because Lev isn't scared of heights. Lev encourages Abby to embrace her fears and to overcome them. Lev might be a kid, but is a very courageous person at heart. Lev wasn't really sure about trusting Abby until he tells her that he doesn't have a gas mask, and must hope that Abby won't die trying to find one. After Abby leaves the hospital with the supplies, her and Lev head back to the aquarium using a boat. On the way back, Lev looks back at Abby and doesn't say anything, but you can tell he is extremely thankful for the risk she took to save his sister's life. Sometimes you don't even have to say anything, you can just look at someone's face and immediately know what's in their heart. However, now that Abby has saved Yara's life, she now has to go and save Lev's life. Lev ends up going back to the Scar Island to try and convince his mother to come with him to Santa Barbara. Unfortunately, when Abby and Yara find Lev, Yara and Lev's mom is dead, and Lev is sitting in the corner still in shock over what just happened. It's really sad when you think that Lev's mom was trying to hurt or maybe even kill her own kid for doing what Lev thought was the only option he had. In Seraphite tradition, everyone has a specific purpose in the community. The men would end up being soldiers, and as for the women, more often than not, they would end up being forced to marry an elder. Lev's role was chosen and he didn't like it, so he shaved his head and ran away with Yara. Lev's backstory is pretty powerful because it shows that if something in your life goes wrong, you don't have to just accept it, you can choose to fight for what you believe in. Even if it costs you everything, sometimes doing what makes you happy in life will ruin relationships with friends and even family. Abby had to make the same decision shortly after finding Lev. Abby, Yara, and Lev are confronted by the WLF, and Yara is killed. Instead of letting Isaac kill Lev, she protects him, which leads to her and Lev having to run for their lives. This is the part where I completely was on Abby's side and started caring for her. When Lev tells Abby,
"Come on, those were your fucking people. You're my people."
that line from Abby really hit me. I fully realized that Abby is a completely different person now compared to earlier in the story. The one thing Naughty Dog keeps the same throughout The Last of Us over both games is that actions have consequences. And for Abby, these consequences nearly made her resort to the old version of herself. If it wasn't for Lev, Abby would have killed Dina and continued the cycle of violence. When Abby looks up at Lev, she is reminded about what really matters, and that's Lev. For a split second, Abby thinks that killing Dina will bring Mel back, and she has a decision to make. She does the right thing and spares Dina and Ellie's life and leaves with Lev. Sometimes in life, one decision can ruin your life if you make the wrong decision. It can kill all the progress you've made and make you turn back to your old ways. You can easily say that Abby saved Lev's life, but I believe that it was Lev who saved Abby's life. At this point in the story, there's been a big jump in time. Abby and Lev's story continues about 2 years later in Santa Barbara, where they are looking for the Fireflies. They finally find where they are down in the basement of 2425 Constance. We learned earlier in the story that Abby doesn't like the Fireflies after Owen tells her about a rumor that the Fireflies have regrouped in California. We are then introduced to a deadly group named the Rattlers, who take people and force them to do manual labor, and they sort of give off a cannibalistic vibe. Abby and Lev are captured by the Rattlers and taken to a prison camp. Now at this point it cuts back to Ellie tracking down Abby, so we don't know what happened to both her and Lev. That is, until Ellie reaches the beach. A fellow prisoner told Ellie that Abby had tried to escape and was unsuccessful. Her punishment?
Please.
This scene is very hard to watch for those who decided to give Abby another chance as a character. What ensues after is one of the most gut-wrenching endings to a video game that I have ever experienced. Ellie was about to let Abby leave with Lev, but she just couldn't allow herself to let Abby escape. So she forces her to fight, threatening Lev's life if she doesn't. After a hard-fought battle, Abby ends up on the losing side. Thankfully, Ellie remembers her last conversation with Joel right before she drowns Abby and lets her and Lev leave. A lot of people are upset that Ellie would spare Abby after thinking about Joel, but the flash it shows of Joel is from their last conversation, and that conversation was about forgiveness. Ellie forgave Abby for what she took from her and ended the cycle of violence. Abby and Lev ride off into the fog, never to be seen again, for now. Thank you guys so much for watching, I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, leave it a like and consider subscribing if you're new for more content like this. And until next time, I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.